Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. This is my review for House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 7. So spoiler warning for the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go watch it and then come back. And yes, let's just go straight into it. So I did miss last week's episode. I have seen it, but I didn't get a chance to review it. Not too much happened last week anyway. It was more of a slower episode, similar to the one before that, where I feel like we're sort of slowing down a little bit after Rook's rest, and so or after Rhaenys's death and stuff like that. And so I feel like we've slowed down a bit, but things picked right back up this episode. And I was gonna say that I think it's gonna be crazy next episode, but what I've heard is that there were only 2 VFX heavy sequences in the season, and number 1 was Rook's Rest, and number 2 was clearly this episode. This episode had major VFX in it. So what's gonna happen in the finale? What I would imagine was a massive dragon battle between all the dragons, but apparently not. So we will see next week what happens. But the end of this episode, man, what a cliffhanger. So yeah. This episode was really, really good though. I will say things are starting to pick back up. However, I am going to just make this statement now before the season ends. I think season 1, overall, I think no matter how good the finale is, I think season 1 is probably better. I've enjoyed season 1 a lot more. I think this season sort of meandered in points where it's like, what are we doing? The story of this season feels kind of like smaller than the first season. You know what I mean? I know that there's like some pretty crazy dragon stuff, but last season felt like a much bigger story. This season sort of just feels like, I don't know, it feels like this whole season sort of could have been wrapped up. Like, say that season 1 of House of the Dragon was 13 episodes rather than 10. I think the last 3 episodes of season 1, if there was going to be like 13 episodes, could have been this entire season. I don't think that much has happened in the entire season to warrant, the whole season being about this. And the stuff that I heard about that I thought was going to be in this season is not coming till season 3. And so I'm like, what are we doing? What's going to happen in the next episode? I don't know. But I'm going to be very interested to see how they wrap it up and how they wrap up this whole story of this whole season, which is basically just preventing it. Like, the war hasn't started. They're all like, oh, war is coming, the war has begun. It's like, no, it really hasn't. Like, what's going on? It's both sides trying to assemble armies, both sides trying to get, one side trying to get dragon riders, the other side trying to, find who how to run King's Landing the best, adjusting to being at the top. That's sort of been the season so far. Nothing too massive, nothing too major. Also, I do want to say, Daemon being at Harrenhal, while it led to a pretty cool moment this episode, I feel like Daemon was at Harrenhal for way too long. I feel like he could have been done there 2 episodes ago. He's still there now, and it's just like, what's going on? I feel like Daemon's been missing from the Dragonstone scenes, from all the stuff going on over there, and he's just been meandering over at Harrenhal. I don't know why. I don't know. I understand the purpose. I understand what it wrapped up to, but which was a pretty cool scene, by the way, with the little lord, I guess, with him sort of stepping up to Daemon. That was a cool scene and stuff, but it could have been done 2 episodes ago, I feel. But anyway. This episode, I still think was really good though. I really enjoyed all the stuff with Rhaenyra and finding the dragon riders. I thought that was awesome. I like the stuff. Well, Alicent, she didn't have too much to do this episode. This was one of the episodes where she sort of wasn't in it. She was in it, but she just had like, moments of reflection. It's like she really needs to get out into nature now, which is good that she's doing it, because after all this shit that's been fucking happening with her family, she really needs to be one with nature for a little bit, try and decompress from all this. And so it was therapeutic for us to see her going through that. But also, yeah, so the stuff with the Greens this episode, with Aemond again, learning to be king, learning to try, seeing him be king is just terrible, by the way. It's like, because like I said in my last video, he's actually smart as well as dangerous. While Aegon, these names all sound the same. Aegon's also dangerous, but he's not very smart, so you don't really have to worry about him too much. But it seems like he's sort of being set up to be like a Varys character, using his brain more than his body. Varys is even like really relating to him on that level, and sort of not advising him, but trying to give him advice on how to live from here on out. Now that he is, disabled, I guess, that he needs to use his brain. His brain is now his, greatest weapon rather than a sword or his body or whatever. And so, it's quite interesting to see Aegon and Varys relate on that level. And so that's something that's, unexpected in this season and something that I think was, you know, really strong from a writing perspective. But yeah, so let's just talk about the big thing this episode. So since last episode, Rhaenyra has been trying to find riders for her dragons, people who are of Targaryen line, people who, you know, I guess bastards, also like cousins, family members that have been married off into different houses, just distant, not even distant, but just Targaryen relatives. Doesn't matter if they're distant or not, but people with Targaryen blood, because the belief is that Targaryens are the only ones who can ride dragons. However, that is, oh, I don't want to say proven false, but I think, I don't know. It's confusing, right? Because it's just because you're a Targaryen doesn't mean you can ride a dragon, right? But that is shown where there's, you know, they call for all these Targaryen bastards and all these Targaryen cousins and relatives to come try ride these dragons, and you see that it only works for 2 of them. They only get 2 new riders, who is Hugh the Hammer and I think Ulf is his name. Ulf, U-L-F is how you spell it. But those sequences were great. Once Vermithor started burning, everyone was like, oh, for fuck's sake, you know, like it's over. Like it's, you know, but then when everyone fell and everyone was running, it was a pretty VFX heavy scene. And it looked really sick too. It looked really, really cool. But then seeing everyone running around for their lives, you know, like, and then that moment with Vermithor and Hugh the Hammer was just so cool. Like it actually really was. And you know, Vermithor respects Hugh. Like Hugh didn't want to die a coward screaming, running for his life. He was like, come on then, get it over with. You know, I've tried. I've done what I can to save my family. If I'm going to die here, you know, that's what I'm going to do. And he accepted it. He accepted his death. He accepted that he was about to die. You know, he didn't necessarily fail, but he accepted that this is the way it's going. And Vermithor, I think, saw that and respected it and was like, you know, I also think that Hugh the Hammer is also part Targaryen. He did mention something about his brother's Daemon. I think he's Daemon and Viserys' brother. Same with Ulf. I think they might be brothers. I don't know. The whole Targaryen line is confusing to me. But I think, you know, he is a Targaryen somehow. He's related to one of them. I think he's Viserys and Daemon's brother. But also the same with Ulf. He did mention that. And so you know, the other thing is that Ulf might be lying. You know, I don't think so after seeing him ride a dragon, but there was like this sort of the hint at him maybe even lying about it. It was like, he said something like, it's maybe true, or something like that, right? Like it's likely, I don't know. He said something along those lines, but yeah, so Hugh the Hammer is now riding Vermithor, and that's going to be so sick. But are we going to get to see it? Because I heard that there's going to be no more VFX heavy sequences, you know, so what are we going to see? But also, Ulf surprisingly tamed Silverwing. I don't know how we did that, but that was such a tense moment. How he stepped on the egg, and I don't know why, but Silverwing liked that. Was like, yeah, okay, you're my guy. You've just killed my fucking child. You're my guy. I don't know what that's about. I don't know what's going to come of that. But you know, Ulf was clearly shown riding Silverwing. He rode him over King's Landing, trying to, you know, distract, or, you know, get the attention of Vhagar, show all his mates that he's, you know, that he's tamed a dragon. And it's really cool seeing to see the small folk actually rise up and be the ones to ride the dragons, you know, the gods. Small folk see dragons as gods, but yeah. And so Aemond and Vhagar decide to chase him. Let's go kill this, you know, who's this fucker on the dragon? And they go to Dragonstone, which, by the way, is surprisingly close to King's Landing. Like, oh my god. And then she sees that she's got these dragons, and Rhaenyra's got riders, and she emerges with her dragon and with the other dragons behind her. And it's just a really cool sequence leading us into the finale. So yeah, that was my review for House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 7. Let me know your thoughts on the episode down below in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on the season overall. Do you agree with me that it's a little bit worse than Season 1, but it's still good? Or do you disagree? Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.